Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is a broadcast that is heard on the scene around the world. So, welcome to MBM Morning Plug-in. This is something to get your day started. And we always do contrasting worldly facts with kingdom truth, the original truth. So, this morning, our topic is bold and fearless. Bold and fearless. And, we have been given dominion over this earth. And that is something we sometimes don't tend to take advantage of. If you saw my thumbnail, the thumbnail is the picture that comes out. I would have sent it a few of you, and you may have seen it on Facebook. And I chose the picture of a lion. You know why? A lion is fierce. He's bold. He's strong. He's known as the king of the jungle. And that is why we humans should be known as king on earth. Because we were given dominion, even though Adam messed up in the beginning, even though the Israelites had challenges and they did whatever they could, they were disobedient most times. We still have an opportunity to find our ways back to the king. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the lion. The lion is a huge creature. He's considered the king of the beast, even though he's not the biggest uh, animal. He's considered king of the beast. And guess what? Because of his stateliness and his prowess and the way he looks and the way he approaches his prey, there's something about him. It's like a symbol of royalty and stateliness. And that's what we are. I remember when I took a trip with Dr. Monroe's son, we went to South Africa. And while we were there, I kid you not, we went into the safari and it was like a free fall. We went into the open. We were all in this Jeep. And we were told that we couldn't do anything suddenly. And then at one point, we were in a caged vehicle. And this is when we were able to go and see the lions in their natural habitat. Let me tell you something. That was a scary time. And as we were watching these lions, listen, this lion gave a roar. I mean, that roar was it was so loud and resounding. It's like, oh my God, he's like, listen, I run things here. And so today our topic is about being bold and fearless, just like this lion. Lions are legendary and known for their strength, known for their beauty and fearlessness. Being very large and powerful built cat. He's second in size to a tiger. And he's also known as the proverbial king of the beast. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about this lion. A lion is so cunning and shrewd. You know what he does? Like his best time to hunt is at night. And you want to know why? Because at night, you see, a lion, he has within him, he literally, he doesn't have many sweat glands. So that means he cannot exert the kind of energy he needs to get his prey. So he needs to rest and conserve his energy. And so when it's cool in the evening, he's able to seek and see and catch his prey off guard. He's so clever. Let me tell you what he does in the day. In the day, a lion, I don't know if you ever watch movies. You notice he's always around the water. Like he's sitting to the edge. You know why? Because that is one of his techniques. That's a method. He sits on the edge of the water. He always is around someplace where there's water. And he literally does that because he knows every animal needs water. So what he does is he comes around the water edge and he just waits quietly, waiting for the unsuspecting prey. And then when this unsuspecting prey becomes, within his target, within this range, You watch the movies and all of a sudden he just pounces on them. And so there he has a free meal for the day. But I want to use that as we speak about the Bible. Now, the lion is mentioned in several contexts in the scripture. We know Jesus is the Lion of Judah, from the 12 tribes. We also know that the devil, the imp, I like to call him the imp, Peter compares Satan, he's Satan too, as a roaring lion. And he wants us to be aware of the enemy's schemes that will destroy us. That's in 1 Peter 5 and 8. But I have great news for you. Do you realize, as loud as I told you that lion roared, he can be heard, a lion roar can be heard up to 5 miles. I go walking some mornings and I can hardly make it to 3 miles. So imagine you can actually hear a lion roaring for 5 miles. That's terrifying. But that is the intent. See, when a lion is preparing himself, he wants you, and he's controlling his territory, his domain. He wants you to know, listen, I'm in charge here. Don't think you come in this area. But can I tell you this? As much as a lion roars, as loud as he sounds, he does that to establish his territory. But as loud as he sounds, a thunderous roar. How many of you know that? A roar alone can do nothing. You know, it's like when you get into a fight with somebody, I always hear somebody say, oh, she's more bark than bite, or he's more bark than bite. That means that person is always talking, rowing, running on about something. And all of a sudden, someone comes and just ends their light. A lion, even though he has all of this nature about him, if he just roars, it's just a loud sound. So this is how our enemy, the Satan, acts. He's a bully. He roars. He threatens. He accuses us of things that we have no knowledge of. He places doubts in our minds. He accuses us in an effort to cause you to be terrified, to cause you to be paralyzed so that you don't do anything. And then, just like the lion, he pounces on us and defeats us. But we have a source. And I keep telling you that every time I speak with you. In Ephesians 6 and 11, 16. But even the threat of a roaring lion cannot overcome those that stand firm in the armor of the Lord. Do you know that? If you are clothed in the armor, our topic is bold and fearless. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I want you to know that if you are covered and you're standing firm on the word, you're armored, nothing can penetrate, nothing. And it may come. It's like I tell you in the last episode, it's like water on a duck's back. See, when you are operating in your sphere of influence, you see, you must know what sphere you're operating in. See, because the lion knows his sphere. He knows that when he roars, he's already demanded his position. And that's what we have to do. We have to examine ourselves when we are troubled, when we are perturbed, when we are unsure because we have become overwhelmed. It will happen. I mean, this COVID is really, a lot of people we in the Bahamas were listening out for our prime minister to tell us some stuff about different mandates. And there was this fear over the whole place because nobody wants to be locked down again. Everybody wants their freedom. But the fear of the lockdown, people are scrummaging and going to the food stores and what have you. But we have to recognize that if we allow fear to take over, then we are operating in a conquering spirit. We have to ask ourselves, where is this fear coming from? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being accepted? Is it fear of being misunderstood? I know I've been misunderstood a lot sometimes. I failed many times. But wherever this fear is coming from, we must trust the process and go about our business and do whatever it is we know we are mandated to do. So in Corinthians 10 and 5, what we have to do now is we have to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. Because see, we have to continue getting knowledge. And that's where fear comes from, you know. Fear comes when we are unknowledgeable about certain things. We are fearful because we're afraid to move. We're fearful because we find ourselves inundated with, maybe we're in the wrong company. Maybe we're surrounding ourselves with in the wrong atmosphere. But we recognize that bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. What is God telling you? What is your heart telling you? Are you studying the word? Are you staying in tune with his word? See, most importantly, we have to stay connected. You know, people are people. We all have different fingerprints. We all come from different backgrounds, but the word remains the same. Doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter whether you come from Africa, Bahamas, any part of the world, any part of the world. The word never changes. And so we must stand firm on the word. You know, we are full of emotions, but I must remind you that you were born with an innate spirit. And we must never lose track of our divine nature. Yes, we do have a divine nature. And anytime you get into trouble, you must remember there is always a way of escape. In 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, it says, no temptation is overtaken. You accept what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. When you are tempted, he will also provide a way so that you can endure it. Temptation, the Bible didn't say that the temptations wouldn't come, you know. It says he will provide a way of escape. And so, again, you must be knowledgeable. You must know what the word says. Let me tell you, with MBN, I remember when I first started, I was like, Lord Heavenly Father, you gotta take control. But you know what I heard the little voice in me? He said, I can take control, but I'm not physically coming down to you. So you must know my word. You must continue hiding your word and my word in your heart. So anytime I'm doing a podcast, I say, Lord, let me decrease and you increase. Because struggles are there. Fear will come if you allow it to come and take complete control. Question yourself, what are your struggles? And remember, you are an overcomer. You are qualified. You have been birthed with innate abilities. You are born to be a leader in your sphere of influence. I can't be a leader in your sphere of influence if that's for you. Try not to be a copycat. There are a lot of times we want to do something we see somebody else doing. And what it does though is it doesn't allow us to become who God has put us to be. In Ephesians 6 and 24, we must continue to put on the whole armor of God, that he may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And in verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You know, people say we're in silly season, we're about to go into our election. And so a lot of times, you know, people would say, oh, this one went this place and did this to somebody, and this one did something else. But the Bible admonishes us to be on our guard. We must never be caught off guard. We must continue going after the things of the Spirit. And let me tell you, the benefits of sharing the kingdom mandate far outweigh the fear of failure. For me, when I thought about doing a podcast, I was like, even though I'm afraid, you know, sometimes you're in different organizations and you may not have had the opportunity to express yourself and you feel like you're able and you're ready. And then here comes the test. The test is here. Are you going to fail it or are you going to pass it? I'm telling you, the fear of failure will come. My motto has always been, and I take it with me everywhere I go, if I can help someone along the way, then I know my living will not be in vain. And so I always take it like from this perspective. If I'm on this podcast, I say, Lord, if it's only one person, I'm praying it's more than one. But if it's only one person I can help, if it's only one life I can touch, if it's only one person I can encourage, then Lord, use me. Use me to do that. I don't know where you are right now in your spiritual walk. I don't know where you are in your mental state. But I know one thing, that we will all, like in Ephesians, we will all go through changes. We'll all go through seasons. But I want to express to you the importance of having faith. Because now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You know, that means that when you see something or when you believe strong enough, you may not see it in the physical, but you believe it. You believe that in the future, even suddenly, that whatever your request is, but you have to use a bold spirit, you know? But the only way you can use this bold spirit, if you understand the kingdom and the precepts and the concepts, you must know how to use his word back to him. We say, when our faith is in God, the all-knowing, bountiful, loving God, do you know the deal is sealed? Now, it's not for you to know because he's always working things out for our good in the back. But when you're speaking and when you're asking, you want to speak with authority, but the only way you can speak with authority is when you know. Speak with boldness, with freedom and liberty, proclaiming that the kingdom of God is at hand. Yeah, Adam and Eve did some things, and everybody back then did some things. Even today, we're doing some things that we shouldn't do. But this all knowing, all wise, all true God is faithful to forgive. And we have rights in this kingdom to ask. But of course, we must align ourselves. We must continue aligning ourselves with the works of God and what it is He wants us to do. And it's just like the lion, we must exhibit boldness and fearlessness in the face of our adversaries, especially when we're facing difficult times. So let me ask you, whose way do you want to go? Is it your way or is it God's way? You see, God shares his glory with no creature, no creative being. He doesn't share his glory. So when we get where we need to go, we want to go, we must recognize that humility, gratitude, all of these things must be present. See, in Isaiah 42 and 8, he says, I am the Lord. That is his name. And my glory I will not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. So if you're blessed with something, try not to let that be your focus. Continue to trust God. Continue to thank God. Proclaim whatever it is with boldness. If you share it, don't share it with an attitude of bragging and as if it's all about you. Give him the glory. Give him the praise. Thank him. Be bold in that way. You know, as I was studying for this particular topic, I came across this man in Acts 8 and 2. He's hardly mentioned. So I did a little research on him. His name was Stephen. And in the scriptures, it says that Stephen, he was humble and he was bold, wise and fearless. And this story was written by Michael Greco in 2015. And he wanted to describe Stephen. He says, Stephen was humble, bold, wise, fearless. He was modest, he was nice, he was strong, he was knowledgeable. Notice, knowledgeable. Knowledgeable, the word is key. He was smart and courageous. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what we're in the face of adversity, in the face of challenges. We must still exhibit all of these qualities. This one man, he was briefly mentioned in the New Testament. He was all of that. He was, like we say, he was all of that in a cup of tea. He was all wise, fearless, strong, nice. You know, he was so humble that he lowered himself just to serve others. And that's what we should do. We should serve others. It's not about us, you know. We should always have our hand out to help somebody, to pull somebody up along the way. He was bold. He was so bold. He spoke truth. He spoke truth to the power without hesitation. And we must continue to speak truth without hesitating. Sometimes you'd be the oddball out. Sometimes you'd be the very one who people look at and scoff at and say, oh, I don't have time for her. But eventually, God is the only one who does the promotion. You don't need man to promote you. And then they said Stephen was wise. He was so wise. He was knowledgeable of detail. He even understood historical events and context. So he was able to tell everybody about Abraham. He was able to talk with Adam and Eve. He was able to set the church straight as to how this dominion came down to being and how we have to be a certain character to represent the kingdom. He was fearless. And in the sight of fearlessness, he didn't shrink from the fear of punishment. Now, how many of us, when it's time for us to stand up, I've seen it all the time. I would be in conversation with somebody and we would be talking, and all of a sudden the person would say, me, I'm not getting in that. We're afraid to get in things because it doesn't concern us. Sometimes it concerns us because we could be the next victim. We could be the person who something, if it's negative, happened to us, and we want somebody else to come and talk and speak on our behalf. That's why sometimes you have to hire an attorney, because you need someone to speak on your behalf. But this man, Stephen, he was a model. In the sight of fear of death, he showed no fear. However, being a modeling Christian, Christ-like characteristic, in the Bible, this text, it talks about, even though he had a lot of humility, yet especially bold, and he was very articulate. He knew all his historical data, and everything he talked was relevant. But because he did not allow the others to believe that he didn't have a say, they ended up stoning him. Yes, they stoned him. And then it says that the devout man buried Stephen and made great lamentation over him. My question to you is, are you like Stephen? Humble, bold, wise, and fearless? Are you? How bad do you want what you want? Is fear grabbing a hold of you and creating for you such a positioning where you are afraid to move? Are you paralyzed? In Isaiah 41:10, it says, fear not, for I am with you. Be not afraid. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteousness. Yes, that's the God we serve. He will strengthen us. He will uphold us. He will be there for us every step of the way. We just have to trust. And if you want to be bold, you must come out of that shell. Fruit is not a fruit unless it takes root and it starts to bloom. And that's what we're here to do, to be bold and fearless. We must know our worth. We must know who we are. We must know whose we are. So what you want to do is ensure that what you want is principally sound. If you want a home, nobody's saying you shouldn't have a home. But make sure you're not going to cut corners. Make sure you're not going to go behind somebody's back or pay someone under the table. Make sure you're principally sound. Make sure your character is not flawed. And one of the main things I want you to make sure to do, by all means, I want you to always consult the manual. You know which manual I'm talking about, right? I want you to consult the manual. This manual has everything you need. It is called the Bible. Everything you can do should be biblically sound. Test it, compare it. So I'm thanking you. Thank you, Jewel, Veronique as usual. Annette, thank you so much. Thank you for George, Victoria. Thank you guys for tuning in. All of you who are online, Ruth, Kerr, thank you so much. I want you to be bold and fearless. I want you to recognize your power, the strength. Be like a lion. Don't just let your roar be loud. Activate it. Go after the things of God. Go after the things that would create for you the atmosphere of peace and tranquility. That even through this COVID season, nothing is going to deter you. You are bold, you are fearless. And I admonish you to go out and continue to be bold. Until next time, I'm Ambassador Renee Johnson. Please share this video. Share. And we're Mamlaka Broadcast Network. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and please follow us. Follow us. And Ruth Kerr, Prius Pampering, thank you so much. I so appreciate you guys for coming on this morning. We are always contrasting worldly facts with kingdom views. The original truth. The original truth. Because God will have it nowhere. Nowhere else. Follow us, like us, and we'll see you again. Until next time, every day, someone is on Mamlaka Broadcast Networks. Again, be bold and fearless. God bless.